Howdy. Welcome to the Autistic Page. I'm a little bit late. I had all kinds of technical stuff I was trying to catch up with here. Um, I want to start out with this little story about autism awareness. It kind of caught my eye, um, not because of the title. It was like progress changes in autism awareness, uh, ca- calls for better support. Um, what it really was the fact that they had all these puzzle pieces. And I was like, oh no. So what I'd like to do is take a look at this and let's just see how ableist it gets. I'm gonna have to fix my camera over there. It's kind of tilted. The whole world's tilted. April is World Autism Month and serves as a platform for better support of services. Okay, yeah, we know about that. All that. Um, It is important to remember that autism is a spectrum disability. That means that some autistic people, okay, first of all, what perspective are we coming from? What is this thing? So it's SABC News. It's weird that they've got this like rainbow looking thing here. I don't know what that's about. Uh it looks like a piece of pizza or something. I'm like, that's not no dang pizza. And probably get all mad at me or something. That's my mother's portrait. What the hell are you? Yeah. Okay, so they're already framing this in such a way that um, it they're talking for autistic people. And this is why I look at these little stories like this sometimes. I try to stay away from these, but just to show you the attitude of the average person looking at an autistic person. And you can really see what's going on here and the difference. All right. All right, having technical difficulties at the feet there. All right. Um, it's important to remember that autism is a spectrum disability, and that means some autistic people are able to communicate using verbal speech, but not all autistic people are able to. Autistic people present with different characteristics. Individuals that we work with do not use verbal speech to communicate. Instead, they use something called a speak and spell. Okay, no, it's called a spelling to communicate. I've heard them called different things. I haven't heard them called a speak and spell. That's what they had when I was a little kid. Oh my word, are you kidding me? All right. So it is important. Saving my sense. Okay, so it looks like we got a little
While the world
story
or
here. Wait, there you go. I just got my internet sped up, and it doesn't look like it's doing much.
the month, we want to know what are some of the signs that you need to look out for as either a parent of a child who suffers from autism.
Come on.
And what is some of the information that is readily
That,
available and how can you utilize it? We do have Miss Ilana Gesh-Lovitz, who is the author of Saving My Sons, A Journey with Autism. She is joining us to shed more light on this topic. Ilana, thank you so much for joining us and welcome. Look, talk to us about what are some of the early
so, okay, this is the first thing. Notice this is not an autistic person, okay?
month, we want to know what are some of the signs that you need to look out for as either a parent of a child who suffers from autism and what is some of the information
These guys have the audacity to think that they're the experts. This woman right here thinks she is an expert on autism because she's in the media. She just literally said that she's going to tell the parents all about it. Actually, this other girl is, but oh my goodness. Like, ah, sorry.
that is readily available and how can you utilize it? We do have Miss Elana Geshe-Lovitz, who is the author of Saving My Sons, A Journey with Autism. She is joining us to shed more light on this topic. Elana, thank you so much for joining us and welcome. Look, talk to us about what are some of the early signs or symptoms of autism.
Thank you for having me. In a young developing child,
I don't know. I would have to go ask an autistic person. That's what she's going to say. Why don't you go ask an autistic person?
development must happen on time. And if development isn't happening on time, we know that this needs to be investigated. So signs to look out for: is the child responding to their name? At 18 months, are they pointing for communication? Do they have imitation? A baby of 9 months or 10 months, if we clap hands, they'll imitate us and clap hands. If we wave bye-bye, they'll imitate us. Communication and social behavior is based off imitation. It is very important for parents to ensure that by between 12 and 18 months, they can see that imitation is becoming more and more established. We want to ensure that the children are not just walking on their toes and flapping their hands.
What? I know she did not say that.
Those are characteristics of a child on the spectrum.
So what?
And we want to ensure that they have 1-word and 2-word phrases at least by.
Wow. Okay, so she is totally like describing she's not even describing autism. she's describing autism with severe developmental issues, with other developmental issues like ID, what do they call it, intellectual disabilities. That's not autism what she's talking about.
20 months, 22 months, just before 2. So those are some of the red flags to autism that parents can look out for. They shouldn't also appear to be in their own world. We want them to respond.
Why?
Consistently, especially when we call their name.
Now, Elana, you've written a book, right, of Saving My Sons, A Journey with Autism. Talk to us about that. And, I mean, based on your earlier point that you've just raised as well, a lot of people...
She's looking at her notes.
People or parents will even argue, right, that children tend to generally develop in varying ways in different matters, so they would not know when it is actually time to actually worry about some of the symptoms that you've outlined.
You take care of things. You don't have to worry your whole life. You just take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. Peoples. You know? No, that's weird.
And today.
Okay, there it goes.
This was my face when I uncovered my great-great-grandfather's history as bodyguard to the Kaiser.
You're correct, and parents do think it's okay if my child develops a little bit later, especially the grannies. They will say that your uncle only spoke at 5, or boys tend to speak later, and this is incorrect. As I mentioned earlier, childhood development is meant to happen on time, and this is where it's very important for the parents to discuss their toddlers' development with a pediatrician. I wrote my book, Saving My Sons, A Journey with Autism, because I wanted to provide parents whose children have just been diagnosed with autism with a guide and a way forward. There is so much information and it can be so overwhelming to navigate the journey. I also wanted professionals to understand the makeup of autism. Autism is a spectrum disorder. We do know that on the one end of the spectrum, we can have a non-vocal individual, and on the other end of the spectrum, we can have a very high-functioning individual who may have social skills deficits or eccentricities. And the needs of the two sides of the spectrum are actually very, very different. To be honest, we really need a redefinition of the spectrum because it's very confusing to parents.
Oh my word. Oh my God. Okay. We're going to redefine. We're going to redefine a medical diagnosis because parents don't like it and they get confused.
By parents who
It's either you either have a cold or you have a cold. You either have cancer or you don't have cancer. You don't have parents that don't like cancer going around redefining what cancer is because they don't like cancer.
just have whose children have just been diagnosed with autism, with a guide and a way forward. There is so much information and it can be so overwhelming to navigate the journey. I also want to
Oh, it's so overwhelming. Oh, oh. That's she's making it scary, you know. She's making it scary. She's making it scary.